Hi everybody, I've had some requests lately for some simple one-pan dinners, and so that's what I'm making tonight. And if you have these ingredients, come cook along with me. So what I've gathered up here to make this meal are some simple ingredients you may already have on hand. Okay, I have a package of frozen mixed vegetables, but guess what? If you have leftover vegetables, you can throw them into this, or use whatever you have, just chop it up. I've got some sweet dinner time. I have a red onion. You can use a white onion. You can use scallions. And I have a pound of ButcherBox grass-fed beef. By the way, right now, if you sign up for membership, you'll get 2 of these 1-pound packages free in every delivery for life. It's one of their best promos, so just letting you know. But here's one way to use it. And I'm just using 1 pound for this recipe. So let's go ahead and get started. Get everything out of the pan, and get yourself a decent sized pan to do this so that you're not, spilling over and all that stuff. I like this pan. This is cool. Like the wooden spoon just kind of fits in the handle. Isn't that neat? Anyway, one of my favorites. So what I'm going to do first and foremost is just cut open the beef, and there's usually a little bit of juice or liquid that you want to kind of get rid of. So I'm just going to squeeze that down and cut it open. And I have a bowl, but usually I do this over the sink. But since I have the camera right here, I'll just do it here. So I just kind of squeeze out the liquid, and I'm just going to let it sit in there while I chop up the onion. I have a damp cloth. So 1 small onion, or half of a bigger one, whatever you have on hand. But meat should be cooked with onion. It just brings out the flavor 100%. And this is all about packing a lot of flavor into a simple meal with simple ingredients. It's all it is. We're just going to make a skillet dinner, but it has a lot of flavor because of the way we're cooking it. And you can season this almost any way you like. I'll show you what I'm planning to do. But there are lots of options. Into the compost that goes. But if it's summertime, save those onion peels and lay them inside your grill so that it smells so good and you get that nice smoky thing going on. I'm just going to cut these onions up, pretty small, because we're looking to have all these ingredients kind of blend together. If you're going to have very little time, number one, you can make this whole thing in advance on the weekend and just have it ready to heat up. That's one option. But another option, if maybe you don't want to do all that, but you want to make it easy during the week, just chop up the onion, put it in a plastic container, and you'll have some of your prep ready. I wouldn't recommend cutting up the sweet potato in advance because it will oxidize and kind of brown and not so pretty. But you could cut up the onion in advance and the bell pepper, as a matter of fact. And that's just going to save you time when you need it most, right? Okay, so we got the onion. And I'm just going to get rid of the guts of the pepper into the compost as well. Just get rid of the little seeds and the white pithy part. Don't have to be too fussy, so this is all going to cook together. And I'm just going to cut this into strips and then cut across the other way. So if you got children or family members, you can ask them to help by getting these few things ready for you. But it's not that bad. And, if you have a week that is just super, super packed with a lot going on, nowadays you can even buy vegetables pre-chopped. I'm not a fan because I enjoy preparing my own food, but it's an option. But I think chopping it up on the weekend is always a good time saver. Meal prep isn't always about making the whole meal. Sometimes it's just prepping a few things to make life easier. And that's what we're interested in doing. All right, I'm going to deal with the sweet potatoes in a moment, but I want to get the pan started. Medium heat. We're not going to kill it here. And I've got just a touch of olive oil. We're not starting with the meat. We're starting with the onions. Beef should be cooked with onions. Just brings out the flavor so much. And so I've added the onions to the pan, and I'm gonna give it a pinch of salt as well. I'm gonna move my camera so you can see what's going on in the pan and on the cutting board, okay? So I'm putting it over here. There, you should have a pretty good view of what's going on. All right, so I've got the onion in the pan. It's medium heat, and I just turned it on, so nothing's really happening yet. And I'm gonna give it a pinch of salt, let that flavor come up. And once this starts cooking and kind of sweating out a little bit, then I'm gonna start adding the beef, okay? So now that I have a little room on my cutting board, I can get these sweet potatoes going. These are pretty small, so I have 3, but use your judgment. If you have larger ones, 1 may do it. I've seen some pretty ginormous ones, and I'm just cutting the ends off. Oops. Runaway sweet potato. But these coarse ends are no good. No, I'm not peeling it. I don't know what ever got people peeling sweet potato. You don't need to. Unless it's really tough skinned, and if you maybe find a spot here and there that needs to be removed. I don't on these. They're pretty nice. But, you know, the skin's got the vitamins. So I'm just cutting this into slices carefully, okay? And then down. You don't want to do too many at once, so just down like you're making French fries. Sweet potato fries are good. And then across. So I'm making these pretty small, because otherwise they'll take a long time to cook, and I want everything kind of blended together in this dish. So I'm trying to keep things about the same size, if that makes sense. Now, if you want this chunkier, you can make big pieces of sweet potato and maybe microwave them for a little while. Just put them in a dish with some water and cover it and steam it in the microwave for a few minutes, and it'll kind of get them started if you want bigger pieces of sweet potato. But I like it like this, and I think you'll see why. All right, see how now the onion, you almost know it's starting to sweat because you can smell it, and it smells really good. These sweet potatoes are a little difficult to cut, so if you want to lay it down flat and cut it this way so that it's more stable, that's a safer way to do it. Probably the better way. Got a few that are kind of big. Just chomp those in half. And we're good to go. I think I'm only going to use 2 of these because it looks like plenty now that I cut it up. But it just depends on how veggie forward you want it. But I am trying to incorporate more vegetables in my meals. I'm a protein eater. I love my beef and seafood, poultry, chicken, you name it, bison. But I'm trying to incorporate more vegetables in my day-to-day living. So this dish is a great way to do that. Notice I saved a little onion. That's for the salad I'm going to make to put on top of this. Totally optional, but I like it. Okay, it's time to bring some beef to the party here. So like I said, I kind of drained liquid out of this beef by just setting it in a bowl. But I would normally just do this over the sink and not mess with an extra bowl. But I'm trying to keep it live here. Now, I'm just going to crumble the beef into the pan. You can just throw the wad in there and break it apart with the spoon, but I find that this works really well because we really want this meat to cook together with the onion, because that's how we're going to get a lot of flavor going. And flavor is what we're looking for here. Lots of flavor. All right, just keep breaking it up. All right. Okay. Clean my hands off. All right, that is cooking. I can hear it. We don't want this too fast to cook. We're gonna medium, even towards the medium low. Hope you can hear me over the sizzle here. All right, I'm just mixing it up a little so that it's blended in with these onions. Okay, now because they take a while to cook, Sweet potatoes are hitting the pan right away now. And don't worry if you get a few peppers. They don't take as long, and I don't like anything real mushy personally, so. All right. Just mixing it together so all these flavors blend. The meat seasons the vegetables season the meat. That's kind of how it goes. Okay. All right. You notice how the sizzle slowed down because I put the cold vegetables in, but it's going to pick up again and it'll start cooking a little bit faster. Beautiful. Now, if you want, you actually could have started this by chopping the onion, get the beef in, and at this point, while this is going out, now cut up the pepper. Depends on whether you like to multitask or if you like to just kind of get everything ready and laid out ahead of time. It's up to you. It's kind of how you like to cook. And I do both. Sometimes I multitask, and sometimes I just love to get all my ingredients 100% prepared. It just depends on my mood. Alright, you don't have to fool with this too much. I'm just going to let it ride. It could use a little salt with the beef. Okay, now, how do you season this? Any way you like, because you can go in a bunch of directions here. We have beef, we have onions, sweet potato, peppers, and we're going to add these mixed vegetables. I mean, we could add Italian seasoning. We could add, more on the French side with thyme and rosemary. I'm going to spice it up. I'm going to add chili powder and some cumin to mine. And just always double check that your chili powder doesn't have any sugar. And if the one you have in your cabinet does, and you're trying to live wild fit, then just make your own. And that's sweet chili pepper, cayenne, red pepper, paprika, cumin, crushed red pepper, garlic, and oregano. There you have it. That's what chili powder is. It's just a mix of ingredients. So you can make your own. I just happen to have some that I do like, and it doesn't have anything in it that I don't want, so go for it. And then cumin, all your straight up single name spices that are not a blend are always a good bet. No, I didn't measure. What is that? 2 teaspoons of chili powder, a teaspoon of cumin, just if I had to say. Start trusting yourself and don't measure everything. Then you have to have a bunch of measuring spoons and just another thing to wash. If you finish it and it doesn't quite seem to have enough oomph, then add some more. It's not rocket science. The time you have to measure everything is if you're baking, because that becomes very precise. Or if you're making a really fancy sauce, like a bechamel. But for this, doesn't matter. Could be a little spicier, could be a little simpler. We don't care. Okay. All right. Now, what I'm going to do next is put the cover on this so that these sweet potatoes can kind of steam, if you will. But before I do, I'm going to add a little bit of tomato paste. Be very careful. Most brands of tomato paste are going to have sugar in them, maybe even other things that you don't want. This brand does not, so I'm safe. What is that? 3 tablespoons? I'll say that is. But if you don't have any tomato paste that you can use at home, just plain tomato sauce will work, or cut up some tomatoes. Okay? Either way, but I'm bringing that flavor in, and by mixing the tomato paste in, then I'm going to add a touch of water and let this simmer, and it's going to allow the sweet potatoes to cook and all these other flavors to kind of blend together. And it's already starting to smell good. Okay. But at this point, okay, that's nicely blended together. I'm just going to add a tiny bit of water, just a tad, It'll cook out. I'm going to throw the peppers on top, put the lid on, and now you're free for a while. Okay, you can, I don't know, you can set the table, you can, do something else that you need to do. Don't go too far. You're going to want to check on it, but it kind of gives you a little bit of time. Now, These mixed vegetables I've had out on the counter, so they are defrosted, but you can even use them frozen. And the reason why I picked some frozen mixed vegetables is because everybody's asking for something easy, and it doesn't get much easier than that. I love fresh, but sometimes just grabbing a package like this makes it super easy. Okay, so how about I make a tiny salad to put on top? Okay, I have some arugula and greens that I just picked. Love homegrown. And I mean, don't stress over salad dressing. That stuff is full of garbage most of the time, and it's so easy to make your own. I mean, ridiculously easy. I have some parsley, but if it's cilantro that you have, or even leave out the fresh herbs and just put dried, that's all fine. But this is just a simple salad, and it just needs a simple dressing. Okay, so I chopped the parsley. I've got a lemon here. So I want olive oil. And I just need a little bit because this is a small salad. So just a drizzle. Notice I'm using light extra virgin oil for the salad, but I used pure olive oil for cooking. There is a difference, and one's more suitable than the other for the purpose. So I do keep both on hand. Okay, I'm using the lemon as the acid in the dressing. A good dressing is going to have kind of an oil and an acid. But if you don't have a lemon, then use a little bit of apple cider vinegar or vinegar that you like. I'm going to go ahead and give it some of the peel, because that's really going to give this a nice, really fresh flavor, which is what we're looking for here. Okay. Get that in there. Nice. All right. I'm going to cut this in half because I don't need the whole lemon for this size of salad. It would be overpowering. So I'm just going to squeeze that in there. Or, if you have a jar of lemon juice, you can have that easily ready and available. All right, if I wanted to, I could season this. Here's a little thyme. But I usually do like to put some garlic powder in my vinaigrette. And if I were making a whole jar of dressing, I would go ahead and use real garlic cloves and mash them up and do all that. But trust me, this is going to be delicious, and it's no fuss. So a little bit of salt. And me, I like my black pepper, but it's up to you how much you put. Okay. Swirl it around. That's all. Don't dirty anything, you don't have to. All right, and I'm gonna put my greens in here. Now I'm gonna mix this right before I serve it so that it doesn't get too soggy. And I may even add some more greens based on the amount of dressing that I made. Okay, add the parsley. Beautiful. But I'm not gonna toss it yet, but it's just sitting there. So it's something I can do while this is cooking. So it's time to give it a look. Okay, it's looking happy. Okay. And I can tell that the sweet potatoes still need some more time because they're still on the crisp side, but they're coming along. The fact that we cut them small makes all the difference in the world. It really helps those cook quickly. Now you're wondering, what am I going to do with this? I'm going to just serve this hash simply on a plate with that salad on top because I've been pressed for time today, and I think that's still a delicious meal. But another thing that you can do with this, if you have some bib lettuce, you can make the most beautiful little lettuce cups and just lay 3 or 4 of them on the plate with some of this in it. And it's really delicious. So think about that. Another thing you can do is move it into, if you want to fancy up this plain dinner, put it in individual serving dishes, with the little salad on top. Really nice. So I'm just giving that another moment before I add the vegetables. And I meant to put this onion in with my salad. So what I have here is arugula, homegrown, lettuce, and some basil. But it's whatever you have, just something fresh on top of this cooked food. And when I serve it, I love avocado, and The meal is just nicely rounded with a healthy fat. So I'm going to get some avocado ready to go. This is a good time to do it while that is simmering. Notice I'm not fussing with it. I'm not stirring it every second. It's just something that I let cook slow and low. If you think it's going to stick or something, then turn down the heat and just give it some time. You know, if you just cut the ends off the avocado, the peel comes right off. It's only held on by the ends. So just cut a little bit off each end and it peels right off. I don't know if you knew that. But this will be nice with a little bit of avocado. Just a nice touch. So I'm slicing this really thin. I'll just make it pretty. You know what? You can make the simplest meal, but if you take just a moment to put some like fresh salad or herbs on the top, it really looks nice. And we eat with our eyes. So you want these healthy meals to be appealing. And one way to do it, look, there's a nice color here already, and we haven't even added the other vegetables. Just going to add half and see if I like it or if I feel like I want to add more. Oops. Yeah, we can go for it. I said I was going to eat more veggies this week, and that's what I'm going to do. All right, notice that the liquid I poured in there, it's pretty much absorbed, but it allowed those sweet potatoes to cook. And what you want to do is take one out, cover this so that it cooks a little better, and just test it for doneness, you know, and make sure, because you don't want them undercooked. Could use a tiny bit more time. So that's what I'm going to give it. I want it to taste just right. All right, there's quite a bit of it in here. So if you have extra, you can put it in an individual serving freezer container that's also microwavable. Stick it in your freezer well marked, and when you're super busy, lunch, dinner, whatever, you can go freezer diving and you have a healthy meal. And all you have to do is heat it up and, you know, add to it a salad if you like, or however you want to use it. But that's what I call freezer diving, and believe me, I do a lot of it. So I always make pots of chili or curry or stew in large portions and soup in massive portions so that I have lunches and I don't have to cook every meal. I love to cook, but I don't love to cook every single meal. It's just too time consuming. All right, this needs about another minute. So almost time to serve this up, so I will get the salad completely tossed. I do think I need more greens because of the amount of dressing. I didn't want it to be soggy. So I'm going to get some. Just needed a little more. All right. So I'm just tossing this really well. If you put the dressing in the bottom, if you make the dressing in the bowl that you're tossing the salad in, number one, you don't have all these containers. Notice I didn't even use anything to stir it. And then you toss it in the bowl. I guarantee you, you need less dressing than if you try putting it on top. I have a really nicely dressed salad and there wasn't that much on it. I mixed it with tongs so I can serve it with tongs and I'm done. So I love to cook. I don't like to clean. So anytime I can make it easy, I do. That's the name of the game. All right, let's see how we're doing. I think this is ready to serve up. What do you think? I'm hungry. Yes? All right. I'm going to do this in a bowl. Now, like I said, this is great in a lettuce wrap. So you have options. And you can see that, you know, 1 pound of grass-fed beef goes a long way because it's pretty lean. But I added all these vegetables and the sweet potato, so it kind of, you know, it bulks it up. Let me see. There. Now, I'm just gonna throw these nice greens on top, like that, and this nice avocado. Let's see if I can fan it out so it looks pretty. Sure, mostly. And there. Okay. And there you have it. Super easy dinner done in one pan. So I hope you'll try it. Post the recipe if you do.